Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Red for Anfield Index. It's Saturday, the 1st of March. Where the hell is the year going? Well, it's going game by game, and they're coming rapidly, although maybe not so much as the case has been recently. I'm Dave Davis, coming to you from one of those cold, windy days in Edinburgh where you just look outside and think, do I really want to venture it? Does the dog really need a walk that badly? But it is what it is. It's a downtime weekend, isn't it? If you think of what we've had recently, what was it, 5 games in 14 days, 15 days? Maybe someone keep me right in the chat panel there. They just came thick and fast, one at a time. This is a little bit like the eye of the storm, isn't it? Because there's no game this weekend, and it's PSG in midweek, Southampton, PSG second leg, and the Carabao. So even though there's 4 games in March, there's a lot to come still, isn't there? And just a nice little bit of downtime. Maybe you missed the football, who knows? But let's get into it, people. What is going on with the Reds? What are the latest stories doing the rounds? Who is saying what? There's only really one place to start when there's no football on, is there? The Jurgen Klopp documentary. Have you watched it? Have you seen any of it so far? I've seen bits, I'm going to be honest. There's a few things that stand out for me, quite stark, actually, in all honesty. But just in case you've not seen it, let's just play a little bit of the clip, the advertising clip. And even as I'm doing this, it still gives me goosebumps, to be honest.
Jurgen Klopp has announced his decision to step down at the end of this season.
You either never stop or you stop too late. It's easy to fall in love with this place. You are part of a family.
Everybody wants to play for Liverpool.
Are you going to Strand?
Yeah.
I'm so happy 9 years ago. They cut holiday short for this club. We have to change from doubter to believer.
Jurgen Klopp is looking closely at the youngsters at the club.
He was building something.
Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk,
Alisson.
We love working together.
It was never going to get better than this.
Salah. How about that?
Would you believe it? We don't give up and we believe.
There's always been tough moments that's kept us going, and we've had to pick him up at times.
Yeah, I don't want to share the absolute, the full clip and everything with you, but there are some real standouts. There's some real characters come to the fore in this, quite interestingly. Harvey Elliott's dad's in it quite a bit, if anyone's seen that. There's some other bits, sometimes more than the players, to be honest, but some other bits, behind-the-scenes stuff that I'm struggling to watch this. I've got to be honest. And maybe it's because of when it's been released. Maybe it doesn't mean too much and the players don't care. But seeing things during the season about last year that just tug on the heartstrings and almost the things, that happened a little bit as well. It'll be one of those that I think when this season's over and we know what we hope is going to happen this season, we can celebrate that one fully. And that will be the ultimate thing to sort of watch that, to cover the summer months. But yeah, being honest, just struggling to watch it in that regard. Maybe my mind's drifting too much to this year. Drop your thoughts in the chat panel. People saying different things there. Morning, Red for Life, who's just commented. Yeah, be interesting if you're short of things to do. Maybe the Klopp documentary is one for you to revisit. Luis Diaz has been speaking, interestingly, that if you think back to that Newcastle game, it was like the old Diaz, wasn't it? And he is a streaky player, Luis Diaz. There's no two ways about it. When I say the old Diaz, the Diaz that almost first came, or when he's hit his pomp, as in absolutely terrorising right backs, wasn't he? And he was absolutely brilliant against Newcastle. Livramento had a nightmare. You could see he almost was relieved to be taken off. That being said, the story with Luis Diaz is up and down, peaks and troughs, streaky, whatever you want to call it. And we know there's still these periods we've seen recently where the output hasn't quite been there, or just wrong decisions, the old wild dribbles, going down a bit too easy, various factors. But the thing that stood out in the interview he's done with Liverpool FC, the website, and there's always an interview every weekend, is what he says specifically. Now, I adore Luis Diaz. Absolutely adore him. Don't get me wrong. But if you let's just look at the quote from this. Our number 7 has been on the score sheet 25 times to date in the top flight. And he's talking about chasing and becoming the Colombian Premier League record holder. So he's chasing, and I'd forgot these names. You think about who's played it in the Prem, the Barclays men. Juan Pablo Angel is on 44. You've got Hugo Rodallega. Do you remember him at Wigan that time on 29? And Hamilton Ricard, who was mainly Middlesbrough, proper Barclays men back in the day, wasn't it, on 31. So this is what Diaz said. He said, now and again, I find out about the stats when people post them on social media. But how nice it is to be getting close to such fellow great Colombian players like Hugo and all the others. And he goes on a bit and he talks about how he wants to sort of chase down those records. And also he talks about what it's like on Arne Slot. So I don't want to ruin all that for you, but well worth a read there. Luis Diaz, big numbers for the end of the season. Would love to see it. That's not belittling Luis Diaz in any way. Would absolutely love to see it. Just struggling a little bit, if I'm being honest, to think he's going to put up big numbers. And then you come into the summer. Do I think Luis Diaz will still be at the club? Well, that's maybe a discussion for another day, for a little bit later. But we'll have to see what happens. Red for life, look at you. Just finished it last night with the missus. D-Stock put a lot of footage recycled from press conferences. No real surprise, but some nice footage of Harvey and Dan's family and journey. Yeah, I mentioned it there. Harvey Elliott's dad is on it quite a lot. And I've seen some people comment on social media, actually more than a lot of the players. But you will decide, people, if you want to watch that or not. More immediate things. Dear God, the fixtures have changed again. Now, as a regular match goer, this is first world problems. You can say that to me, but you obviously look at the fixtures, you look at when they clash with dates, like families, birthdays, all that type of thing. So, I'm one of the lucky 13 plus who goes to pretty much every game. There's so many asterisks. There's more asterisks next to our 4 fixtures than there is against Manchester City's titles, put it that way. Just have a look, as it says there, 4 potential fixture changes. Let's look how the official website lists this. Now, the derby, that was always going to change for TV. Look at the double digits. Liverpool play pretty much Sunday, April the 6th, every Sunday through to April the 27th. 3 home games in a row, 1 away. The asterisks are really important to keep an eye on. Each of these matches is subject to possible changes, it says, dependent on Champions League participation and scheduling. So as much as you're trying to set your watch by, plan ahead, and listen, this is proper first world problems, we say, because if we're in the Champions League, if we're doing what we should be doing, maybe I'm just getting a bit giddy there. Who knows? But yeah, keep your eye on fixtures. Everything's going to change, whether we go through, whether we go out, however you see it. Just don't set any plans in stone. But April, make sure your Sundays are clear, because they are going to be getting utilised. No 2 ways about it, in all the best possible ways. Now, this one. The accounts being released. So I did a short put on this yesterday because we shared a few thoughts at Anfield Index on what were the headlines, what were the call outs. So I've just got them on screen there for you in case you've not seen them. Media revenue fell by 38 million. Match day revenue rose by 22 million. Commercial went up 36. Administrative costs, 38 million. The overall revenue rose by 20, but the loss before tax, that was the headline, wasn't it, was 57 million. So I don't almost want to rehash every single point that I made yesterday. And if you do want to watch it, it's only about a 4-minute video, just sort of calling out certain things. Costs had to be called out. And if you look at where they are from 2018, it's stark. But when you level it up, 57 million is no small amount in the world at all. It's huge. It could do great good. I'm not debating that for 1 second. But when you think of Liverpool's loss of £57 million, they weren't in the Champions League for these figures. Yeah, because they had March. It was 23-24 season. So we were in the Europa. So think about that for a second. Also, Jurgen Klopp and his staff were paid up, if you want to call it that, or, payoffs, however you wish to phrase it there, which with a mixed in with the Champions League deferred bonuses came to 9.6 million, according to the account. So just shy of 10 million, let's call it, between pals. So if someone had said to you at the start of the season, when Liverpool's figures come out, there'll be a 10 million payoff to Klopp, his staff, however you wish to phrase it, and Liverpool wouldn't be in the Champions League, what would you honestly have said? What would be the loss? If you take that into account, just knock off about that 10 million. It's what, 47 and a half, if you want to call it that. 47.5 million does sound a reasonable difference, doesn't it, between the Champions League and the Europa League money. I don't think personally that's that wild to say. I know it's not a small amount. I am not debating that for a second. However, I heard earlier reports or suggestions from people in the year or earlier this year that it could be going well above 57 million. So it's not an overall positive, but it's not an overall disaster at the same time. And you know who to listen to. Mo Chatra will be doing his bit in the near future for AI, so keep an eye out for that. And also just focused into this year, well, this year's figures will have the Champions League in, won't they? Think how well we've done in that. You know how much even a match day win is. This year's figures, touch wood, look like they're going to include a Premier League title. Think of all the prize money, etc. there. And yes, I know people as they're listening to it were going, bonuses, costs, all those bits. Well, Arne Slot isn't going to earn Jurgen Klopp money. We'll see how that works in the future. But yeah, well worth a listen if you do get the time. Bit of other Premier League bits as well. And let's talk wingers. Let's talk transfers. Double A. We may see this differently. Maybe a bit of relief with this player. So this looking on the AI site there. Anthony. Remember the fidget spinner? The one United that cost millions and millions and is now on loan at Real Betis. Admitted he was close to joining Liverpool at one point. So worth a read, that article. Stay with me on this. Disaster at United, but all players are. It's an absolute graveyard for any talented youngster or player with any talent at all. If he come to us under Jurgen Klopp, you never know what he could have been. I'm not saying he's going to replace Salah. I'm not saying any of that. I just always think that context is important to say. Also, have anyone been watching La Liga recently or just seen a few bits? Doing rather well for Betis. Yes, he got sent off the other day. I appreciate, so suspended. But if you look at the goals or the goal contributions that he's making, it does almost seem like a different player. But football's full of those sliding doors moments, as they say. And on goes his career. Now this player, Karim Adeyemi, linked with us, it seems, every year. Every single year, it seems a standard link, isn't it? That Chelsea's the other one he's been linked with. The flying winger who's, it just feels at 23, his career's never really kicked on as people expected it to. And even at the Dortmund, where he's been for so many years since he moved from Salzburg, you look, it's Bino Gittins now that tends to be the one crowed about. It's Sancho. He's never really had star billing or ever sort of lived up to his potential for me. And you scanned, had a look at FB Recs, as Barts would tell us to do. But even this season, the headlines, 11 goal contributions, 6 goals, 5 assists from the right wing, parts of the left side as well. It's nothing really to write home about. This almost feels like one of those links that Michael Edwards liked the player a long, long time ago. So people will continue to link him with Liverpool. But Anthony, thank God, maybe it didn't happen. This guy, Adeyemi, I just can't see it. Maybe you think differently, but yeah, there's a lot to talk about this summer. AI content, we have got a lot to talk about for you on this one. So even coming up today, later on, 1:30, we'll be running our talk about potential exits. Now, I put this up and a few people commented to let me just be crystal clear on this. Yes, the focus at the moment is on a title. Yes, a European Cup, any other trophy will be outstanding. Absolutely. However, Arne Slot has said in multiple press conferences, now we've done the assessment of the squad, we know where we are. And that was in the latest embargo comments that came out as well. It's clear, and he even mentioned Richard, as in Richard Hughes, Liverpool are looking ahead to the summer already. That planning is well underway. Now, we always talk about incomings and who we want to come in, and you've seen the links. I've talked about the links. You will know all of those. Outgoings are going to have a big effect on that, even separately from the big three and their contracts. Because you look at it at the moment, the David Ornstein, Lewis Steele, any journalist you can name seems to intimate this the expectation coming from the club is that Van Dijk, Salah stay, Trent set to go. Whether that bears out, we'll have to see. But that's an upcoming show we've got for you today at 1:30. Yesterday, me and Barts did a full tune takedown where we analysed the stats. We ran the metrics from the Newcastle game. Some interesting call-outs there. Essentially, Mo Salah is better than the entire Newcastle team for touches in the box, nearly. Also, we did a full PSG analysis. We looked at a few of their threats as well. That will be out later in the week. I know Gags is away, so Eddie covered Chat G&G, well worth a watch. And just some other videos that are out for yourself as well. Some of my favourite are the stats. Dave, I know, talked about this. There was an interesting takes on the figures from him yesterday as well. Eddie and Gags, we mentioned, had a full run through around summer transfers and a bit around, he was our first world type again. But where do we think the Guard of Honour could be? Various things for you to watch and fill the time on there. No doubts about it, ladies and gents. But there we are. The weekend is literally upon us, isn't it? It might just have that feeling of, is it the quiet one? Is it the one where you do the jobs, you walk the dogs, you maybe, I don't know, strip the walls, mow the lawns is maybe a bit out, depending on where you are in the world, who knows? Because it's a quiet weekend. Maybe you watch a bit of the FA Cup, but Liverpool will be back this week and it will go fast because they'll be flying out to Paris, won't they? So Arne Slot will have his press conference joined by a player as well. Southampton will come up on the Saturday. So it will move quite quickly from there. But maybe, just maybe, for the first time in a long time, there's a chance to have a bit of a relaxing weekend. Whatever your plans may be, we will see. But there we go, ladies and gents. Enjoy your day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. That was another Daily Red